Hey everybody, welcome, and thank you for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. My name is Zach Brittle. I'm here with Laura Heck. Today we're chasing down one of my favorite metaphors, one that I'm obsessed with and using with clients all the time. It's really about playing a good game of catch. If you've seen Field of Dreams, you know that if you build it, he will come and then ease his pain. And ultimately easing his pain is about just playing a good game of catch. And that's what we're talking about in this episode. I think it'll spark some ideas for you. Before we get started, I want to thank our new Patreon members. Stephanie, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope that you guys are well. Also, Stephanie, thank you. Andrew, Laura, Melissa, all of you coming on board to support the Patreon community that we need in order to keep the lights on here at Marriage Therapy Radio. Some of you are buying us a cup of coffee. Some of you are buying us a sandwich. Some of you are maybe buying us a cocktail. I just want to say thank you so much. We can't emphasize enough how much we need your support to keep the lights on here. And I just want to tell you that I really appreciate you coming on board and being a part of the behind the scenes action here at Marriage Therapy Radio. This week, we got an email asking about some of the things that I'm reading. And this week, I told you instead about the books that I'm 3/4 of the way through and that I need to figure out how to finish before too long. But first, we're going to talk to you about playing a nice game of catch. This is a very cool conversation. Stick around. I'm getting a haircut today.
It was like, ready, hit record. I'm getting a haircut today.
I'm getting a haircut today. It's my first haircut in like 9 months because I just shave my head in the winter and then in the summer I let it grow out, which is weird. It's like backwards.
We all know I have an opinion about your hair.
Yeah, but I'm getting
it.
But here's my question.
Okay.
Let's say you're getting your haircut and you need to make change. You need to make change like cash, like you only have like big bills.
Okay.
Where would you go to make change?
The barber.
No, she doesn't have change.
Why not?
Plus, you'll be like, here, can I get some change? No, you give them the exact amount that you want to give them.
Is this
but
a dad joke? This has got to be a dad joke.
It's not a dad joke. But like, should I go to the bank? Should I go to the gas station? Should I go to the grocery store? Where do you? I mean, who like quickly opens their cash register for you anymore?
I mean, I would go to right. Oh, you're gonna have to buy something in order to do that.
I don't want to buy something. I just want change.
Okay. Gas station, anywhere.
Because here's the thing: if I buy something, I'm gonna get actual change, like coins. I don't want coins. I just want bills.
Okay.
So you're no help. I'm just gonna go to the gas station, I guess.
I literally am like lost. This was a worthless question. I'm just gonna say that.
It's not. These days, like you walk in and say, "Can you change this $20 bill or this $50 bill?" People are like, "Yeah, you got to buy something." or if you go to the bank, you got to wait in a long line because they don't have, they only have one teller at the bank anymore.
So stop carrying cash. Nobody carries cash.
In my day, you could walk into the bank and get it.
No, you say, "Can I Venmo you? I don't have any cash, or I don't have the appropriate change," or you stop carrying cash altogether.
No, see, because when I get my haircut from this lady who's in her basement, and she's the sweetest lady, and every time I give her a $2 bill. So I give her the amount of money that I'm paying for my haircut, and then I give her a $2 bill.
That
Do you know
is
I have a $2 bill in my wallet at all times?
Well, that's good, because the next time you're at my house and my son loses a tooth, hold on. I don't know. What is the phrase, like, cover your children's ears?
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I thought it was like a trigger warning. Spoiler alert. My son gets a $2 bill. I guess I don't need to share. Yeah. So the tooth fairy brings my son a $2 bill.
Gives your son a $2 bill.
There we go. I was able to do it appropriately.
I think I told you this story before. When the tooth fairy would forget to come to our house.
Yes, it happens from time to time.
Yeah. I have the tooth fairy's mother's phone number.
Oh, you do? So you call.
I would call the tooth fairy's mother and I would say, "Hey, what the heck is going on? Because Abby didn't get her money and I'm going to need you to talk to her." And so Abby would talk to the tooth fairy's mother and they would explain, and she would explain what happened and that she should probably expect the tooth fairy to come. tomorrow.
Can you send me that phone number? Actually, can you give the number out on air? Because I'm sure we all would love the Tooth Fairy's mother's number.
I think that would be bad. I think that would not go well. I happen to know the Tooth Fairy's mother personally. She's a good friend of mine. I don't think she would appreciate me giving her phone number out at random.
To everyone, complaining about her lazy daughter.
It was delightful. I can remember we were standing in Costco and Abby was just like, "Yep, okay. Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Tooth Fairy broke her leg one time. Couldn't get out to make her rounds that night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Abby was very concerned about the Tooth Fairy.
Oh, well, maybe she broke her leg at my house because the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny came at the same time and they had a big collision and they knocked over a Lego tower,
likely.
which was a bummer. But it made for a really great story in the morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so you're getting a haircut. That's all very exciting news. I don't know when this is going to air, but I am 1 week from leaving on our vacation. And I've been thinking
You're on your
a
trip right
lot. Oh, I'm on my trip right now. I'm having a great time. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So one thing that I'm going to start doing, I'm going to do this on the Patreon page, is I'm going to show you all of my favorite. I've been thinking so much about packing because I want to pack ultra light. We're going to take just 2 backpacks, and I want to show all of like my little tricks because I've been very thoughtful, and normally I'm not thoughtful about much. As you know from our last episode, I don't do much thinking. I just kind of live in the spur of the moment. But I've been thinking about packing and how to do it. And this is an example of a onesie. So I'm going to try and pack all one piece. Like you're wearing 3 pieces right now. And that's going to take up space, right? You have like a sweater, you have your shirt, and you have pants. I'm going to just pack one article of clothing that I'm going to wear on every day. And so I'm going to live in my onesies. I'm super pumped to see how small I can make it.
What about going to the bathroom?
What about it?
You have to like practically undress your whole self to go to the bathroom?
No. So I'm going to stand up for you so you can see this. The shorts, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm gonna bring the microphone. When a lady pees
a little
wearing
flap
a
in the back, I'm
onesie,
gonna be so
it
excited
doesn't have
there's
a
like a
flap.
little, like-
You can pull it to the side. You pull it to the
For
side.
both number 1 and number 2?
Well, no, but if I'm gonna no. I mean, yes, you have to take it down.
If you're gonna go
when
number
you have
2
to go
on a
number
train,
2.
you have to undress your entire self on a train.
Which is
to
so
go number 2.
embarrassing because when you're in a public bathroom and you know how you can see through like the slats and you're wearing a onesie, for a female, you take the whole thing down. You're just sitting there basically naked on the toilet and people can see through the slats. And you're like, yes, that is my areola that you're looking at right now.
Okay.
Anyway.
So you are basically making my point for me, which is that I think you should not wear onesies.
Because of the bathroom issue.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
you're going to be wandering around a foreign continent and you're never going to know like how the food's going to hit you or what you're going to need to do. And you're thinking, at least I don't have a shirt and shorts right now.
This is like the great debate for triathletes of like, do I get a 2-piece triathlon suit or a 1-piece? Like when you're a cyclist and you know this and you're wearing bibs that come all the way up, you have to unzip your cycling jersey. Yeah. Then you have to take that off. Then you have to pull off your bibs. So I would say that if there is a win in this situation, it is that I'm only carting around one small backpack and not multiple pieces of luggage.
Your outfit is very cute. And I really hope that you do not have to use the train bathroom to go number 2.
Thank you. I'm going to send you a text the first time. It'll be a selfie from the collarbone up and it'll say, I'm sitting here naked on a public restroom toilet. And this is because I chose to wear the onesie today.
I will forgive you if you do not send me that photo.
Okay. Fair enough.
Like if you don't send it to me, I'll still forgive you. Like it's okay.
Okay. Well, then I won't send you a photo. It'll just be me saying I'm sitting here naked and cold, shivering because I wore the onesie. All right.
That's okay.
Do you want to talk about something serious?
Sure.
Marriage stuff, relationship stuff.
We'll get right to the point this week because last time we talked about
right to the point. 8 minutes in, people are like making change, wearing onesies. Okay, so what's on your mind?
Let me think. I don't know if there's anything else that I need to like get off my chest right now. I already talked about how baller Shogun is. That's a cool show.
No, we're not doing any more banter. We're getting right to it.
All right. And just making sure that like there's like, cause this is the last time I'm going to talk to you for like a month. So if there's anything else I need to, deal with.
Okay. You know that you can always call me and text me, right? Just because we're not recording a podcast doesn't mean we can't talk.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of like really cool, like kind of professional opportunities coming up, but I'll have to tell you about that another time. Because they're sort of loose ends right now. They're not official.
Okay. Can I hold on? I have to tell you about this one because I don't think I've told you. So John and Julie Gottman are coming out with it's not a new book. It's a rewrite of The Marriage Clinic. that the publisher is republishing, and I will be hosting with John and Julie Gottman a webinar with their publisher, which is kind of a cool opportunity.
Yeah.
So that'll be happening in July, I believe.
Right on. You texted me and said that you pitched some kind of gig on the East Coast. Did you get that?
I did not. I overbid them, so they did not want to pay my very, very high rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would have been kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we found out that we're not going to Virginia, which is a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You and me, or you and me, we're going to go to Virginia. And I was like really hoping it would be me because the gig was like right next to where I went to college. And I'm obsessed with where I went to college. I went to William & Mary, which is one of my favorite places in the world. And so I was like, I get to go to William & Mary for free. That was really fun, but that's not going to work out. Anyway.
I had some hard feelings. Alas.
What's that?
I had some hard feelings about that. It took me a little bit to process that because when the opportunity was presented, I said, I would like to go and I would like to go by myself. And you said, that's not an option. I would like to go, or we can go together. And I like genuinely was like, I'm going to take some time for this one to settle in. I understand.
That is not my experience of how that went down, but I appreciate that that's what happened for you.
Okay. Right?
I mean,
I think that's like what you said, right? You said, hey, this is my hometown. I'd really like to go. So if this is an option, I'd like to go. I missed the part
where you said, I want to go and I want to go by myself. Like that wasn't part of my understanding. Mm-hmm. My understanding was that you got an email that said, hey, there's this thing. Would you want to go by yourself? And I got the same email. There's this thing. Would you be willing to go by yourself? And I was like, sure. And then you were like, sure. And I was like, actually, this is in my backyard. So if I'm going to go, like, I'd like to call dibs on this one. And then you were kind of like, I'd like to call dibs on this one because I would like to make some money.
That's right.
And then I had an actual realization, which was, and this is something I do feel strongly about.
Oh,
that gig is better when we do it together, period.
Right.
It is a better product.
Yes.
And so that the idea that either one of us would go by ourselves is a problematic
benefits
compromise.
Us. Yes.
Well, it doesn't even really benefit us.
It absolutely does. It's either,
it might benefit your pocketbook or it might benefit my joy, but it doesn't make my life easier. It's actually harder. So
it is. Yeah.
Anyway, I thank you for telling me you had hard feelings about that. That was not personal at all. That was and I certainly didn't feel like I was contradicting you. I was just like, hey, this is a thing. Cause I think that from the top down, that was problematic. Like the way that came down the pike.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I agree. And I think it's interesting because this is really funny. We're processing after the fact, and it's how our friendship works. I think you remember it exactly how I remember it as well. I just didn't like that you had called dibs because I was like, okay, you're calling dibs because you lived there, you have relations to Virginia, you want to be in that area. I was calling dibs because it was my turn. It was like, it's my turn to do this by myself. And I am trying to make some money and I do want to go and work hard and make money. So anyway.
Yeah. It sounds like we were on the same page, but that was not a personal thing at all. And I'm happy to support you making money. I hope that you do. I hope you can make a ton of money, but that was you're exactly right. Like I was like, hey, if I get to go hang out with my family and walk around my thing, like, anyway.
A little bit of
Alas,
an update.
We're not going, but somehow maybe Orlando's on the radar. That'd be cool. I feel less strongly about Orlando. You can do that by yourself if you want to. Except that my other thing remains, which is I think it's better, period, when we do it together because we're a good teaching team.
We are better together. That is true. As you called us, the two-headed
I was singing a little bit earlier, that Jack Johnson song. I was like,
sing it.
I tell you one thing, we're better together. I can't remember the lyrics now, but it's a Jack Johnson song about better together. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. What's on your mind professionally?
Okay, yes. I'm happy to talk about something serious now that we've worked that out of our system. Hey everybody, you've heard us talking a little bit about growing our Patreon community and trying to find ways to let you behind the scenes of Marriage Therapy Radio while inviting your support financially. We have a couple of different levels of your ability to be involved. We have a $3 level, we have an $8 level, we have a $13 level. The $13 level I'm especially excited about because it includes a book club that goes back to a dream I've had since before COVID. Would love to have you join. We'll kick that off sometime this summer. I hope that you'll understand and appreciate that inviting you to be part of the Patreon community isn't necessarily about what you will get as much as about what you can support. Us trying to help people make their relationship better today than it was yesterday. There are plenty of folks out there on our airwaves who use Marriage Therapy Radio as their form of therapy. It's a way for them to get free support from two couples therapists who are trying just to help people understand tips and tricks and tactics, all while having a good time getting to know each other. Some of those people can't support us, and then some of you can. So I want to say thank you to those of you who can, and I want to especially appeal to those of you who can on behalf of others. I know, as I've said before, there are some of you who can give $25 or $50 or $100 a month and never blink. And I'd invite you to consider that just on behalf of some of those folks who use Marriage Therapy Radio to help make their relationship a better place, make the world a better place, help us keep the lights on. Again, I appreciate you. You can go to marriagetherapyradio.com. There's a whole panel there about Patreon, some of the tiers that are available. Just know we appreciate your support no matter what. And now let's get back to it.
We just talked about a lot of things that we couldn't air because they're a little more personal, or it's just really Zach and I kind of venting about stuff. But you brought something up, Zach, interestingly, where you said, I have some interesting professional opportunities. And
yeah,
you mentioned something, which is we have all these like different professional opportunities. You're kind of straddling where you were taught and trained by the Gottman Institute. We teach for them. You are on RLT leadership.
Yep.
And they're interested in you kind of like coming on board. And it almost feels like you have two levers here. And I was just thinking about how it's hard to play it. Like, I don't know. I think that the balance is really difficult. And there's been a lot of couples therapists in kind of our circle where they have been trained in emotionally focused couples therapy. And then they've also been trained in Gottman method couples therapy and on leadership for both of those, which is very difficult. It's one thing to be trained. It's another thing to be part of the teaching staff, which Zach and I are both part of the teaching staff now, me for the Gottman and him for RLT. And anyway, but when you start to straddle,
things are kind of rolling out for me in that way. And I have, as you might imagine, thought about this quite a bit because I do not feel like I have two lovers. I feel like I have an ability to metabolize content and turn it into meaningful content for other people. And to me, it's all under the umbrella of relationship health and relationship wellness. And what I actually feel is that the ability to navigate through the Gottman method and through RLT at the same time is actually very powerful. And it actually helps me be better at both of them. And I'm doing a call for RLT in August for all of the RLT therapists, where I'm actually going to compare and contrast the Gottman method to the RLT method and talk about how they complement each other, particularly when it comes to like boots on the ground, doing work with actual couples. So it's fun. It's stimulating for me. It helps me kind of think through different, applications and what do I do with different, kind of maybe even tensions in the models. And, I say the same thing every single time, which is I don't think there's a best model for couples therapy. I don't think the Gottman method is best. I don't think RLT is best. I don't think EFT is best. I don't think PACT is best. I think what's best is what works for the couple, what stimulates change for the couple. And if it's Gottman method, some people really glom onto that. And that's a very effective tool-based method, which is absent of a lot of emotionality, which is okay. And then there's something like RLT, which is much more about inquiry into, family of origin or childhood trauma, or how to kind of own your own, your own narrative in the midst of trying to apply tools. Those are different styles, and people gravitate toward different styles for different reasons. And the topic I want to talk about today is actually something that I've been kind of messing around with in RLT. It's really around the notion of boundaries. And if you want, I'll just kind of launch in because
launch it.
I have this thing that I'm obsessed with talking to clients about. And as you know, sometimes I work that out on the podcast, but it's the idea that, in our bodies, in ourselves, we hold boundaries People hold boundaries. That is a thing that they do. They might hold them too rigidly and they might hold them very poorly, but they do hold them. And there are two types of boundaries that people have. They have containing boundaries. Containing boundary protects the world from me. So it keeps me from saying everything I want to say, right? My containing boundary keeps me from saying that outfit is ridiculous. You look like a clown. I'm sorry. I don't want to get close to something that might sound real because you don't look like a clown, but like if I'm walking down the street and I see somebody.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, I look lovely, by the way.
Again, I'm not trying to, I really didn't want to use that example because it's not at all. But it keeps me from saying everything that pops into my head. My containing boundary does, keeps me from yelling at my kids.
That's what I was thinking is like the idea of I'm too much. And so there's a containing boundary of if I show up in my authentic self, or if I was to say all the things I want to say, or if I want to be silly to the point where I'm silly, or if I want to be loud and, I don't know what it might be, but a containing boundary is like kind of the notion of I'm too much. And so I have to contain part of myself because I'm in a preschool class or a boardroom.
Yeah, it's certainly part of it. I mean, again, people have to evaluate their relationship to their containing boundary. For some people, they have a very strong containing boundary because they fear being too much. And so they don't say what they want. They say nothing. Some people have no containing boundary. So they say everything and maybe they are too much. It's not a singular like variable, but it's on a spectrum, right? So you have this, you have to kind of evaluate what is my own relationship to my containing boundary. And then of course, the second kind of boundary is the protective boundary. The protective boundary protects me from the world. So if I use my own example and somebody says, hey man, that outfit makes you look like a clown. If I have no protective boundary, I'm going to take that in. It's going to permeate me. I'm going to feel ashamed about my outfit. I'm going to take off I'm going to change, because I can't protect myself from what other people say. Or I might have too rigid of a containing boundary or protective boundary. So somebody says, you look like a clown. I go, well, I don't fucking care what you think. Like I'll wear whatever I want, and I'm not going to observe. So again, in the extremes, if your containing boundary is too strong, or your protective boundary is too strong, or your containing boundary is too weak, or your protective boundary is too weak, that's not healthy. That's not the position of health. And so the examination for couples who are in relationship with each other is how to establish effective, safe, protective and containing boundaries in the midst of the relationship that they have with one another. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It makes me think about, how can I say this? I would say most of the people that when we're talking about boundaries, we're talking more about the protective boundaries of there's been a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. There's been situations in the relationship where maybe they had on the spectrum of being like a pretty clear, I would say, not loose, but just like a permeating boundary. Now it's become completely firm and they're unyielding or unwilling to allow their partner to penetrate in some sort of way. So most of the time, I think we're talking about, in my practice, the protective boundary and how the protective boundary has become too firm. It's unwilling to allow the other person in, to impact them, to feel close and connected.
So in RLT, the differentiation is, are you walled off or are you boundaryless? That's the differentiation. So when you're analyzing or when you're assessing a relationship, you're looking for, do I have two people who are walled off? Do I have two people who are boundaryless? Do I have one and one? You're like, what's and there's another axis that we can talk about another time. But the thing I'm playing with in my practice is where this boundary conversation lives, particularly with regard to conversation or like even conflict conversation. And what I'm inviting couples to do is think about playing a game of catch. Literally, you and I have our baseball glove and we're playing a game of catch. Okay. And that is the conversation that we're in. And this metaphor, people get jammed about it. And I love it too, because there's so many options here, right? Like if the ideal game of catch is when I throw a ball to you, so that you can catch it in a way that is not dangerous to you or doesn't cause you to have to bend over or, jump too high. And you throw the ball back to me and you throw it at the appropriate pace to my glove, which then we're just throwing this ball back and forth. And there's this nice sound to it, right? It's like pop, pop, pop. And we're having a give and take. And I think people get this. They can see it. They can see this metaphor play out like we're just playing catch. They can also see how it goes wrong, right? Where I throw it when you're not looking, or I throw the ball really hard,
and that's
or I throw the ball just
boundary.
out of your reach so that it's kind of passive aggressive. Or I throw the ball and I don't catch it. I just turn my glove over and it hits my glove and it just falls to the ground. Like this, it's like not even a thing that people would generally do, but you might. Or this is another one. I don't like the way you threw it, so I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to go home.
Okay.
So
yeah.
The idea of like, how do we play catch with one another? I think 100% of the time you can get back to a healthy game of catch just by stewarding your protective and your containing boundary. And the glove is basically the boundary, right? The glove is this boundary where the ball hits your glove.
Right.
And then you can turn your glove around, look at the ball and go, what am I going to do with this? This was a little too hard. Somebody said something mean to me, called me a clown.
Sure.
I can look at it and go, I don't really like that. Hey, that was not a very kind thing to say. What were you trying to make me feel bad? And I throw the ball just back to their chest, versus you're a clown, and I beam it back to them or something, or I just start crying because they've insulted me. So I'm interested in this idea of the metaphor of this game of catch, in the sense of how do you help people appreciate that they can throw the ball back and force. They always have a choice in terms of whether or not they're going to steward the healthy boundary. And there are specific labels that I'll talk about, but tell me first how this metaphor is hitting you and what it's doing to you, and how do you see it or appreciate it inside of your own experience and practice?
Yeah. So the first thing that comes to mind is this idea of you are in a game with another human being, another person, and therefore your game is impacted by the other person's ability to catch the ball or throw the ball back to you. And that's frustrating for a lot of people because if we're constantly standing shoulder to shoulder facing another person and saying, we're playing a game of catch and you keep throwing the freaking ball over my head, I'm going to need you to throw it directly to me at this speed so that I can catch the ball. And that's where we're getting hung up in therapy so much, is that we're staring at this other person saying, just throw the ball where I need it to be. Like, if you were to only change the way in which you are playing this game, then we can do it better. But now you're throwing it over my head and now I'm pissed. And now I'm going to throw my glove down. I'm going to refuse to play the game. So this is where my head is going, is how frustrating and stuck couples can feel in wanting to play the game with their partner and demanding that their partner play the game better. And so I need your help, Zach, to talk me out of the idea that I have some control in this situation. Because this is the piece that I'm...
Talk you out of the idea that you have some control in it?
Or talk me into the idea, because right now all I'm doing is I'm literally staring at you and I'm going, don't you throw that ball over my head again. I'm going to walk away. I'm done playing this game if you keep throwing the ball over my head.
Okay. So for me, the throwing the ball over the head, that's kind of passive aggressive, right? It's like I'm throwing it to you, but I'm throwing it in a way that's really inconvenient for you. And it's not direct, and it doesn't make it easy for you to understand.
Right?
The game.
That's the containment boundary, is you are having a containment boundary thing.
That would be me having a poor containing boundary, Right. And so the label that RLT gives the containing boundary is when you're in these conversations and these conflicts, and this is funny because I paid a lot of money to learn this, and it's something that Holden and Abby and Mary all learned in kindergarten, which is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary?
Yeah.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? When you are needing to say something or evaluating whether or not you need to say something, whether or not you need to throw the ball, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And I think, the passive aggressive toss is maybe it's true, but it's not kind, and it might not even be necessary. So here it comes. And so, the really hard toss is maybe true and necessary, but it's not kind.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of ways that you can vet this. And again, it's like, duh, my kids learned this in kindergarten.
Yeah.
But it really does help. I mean, I've had to use it a lot, actually, particularly in my parenting situations where I have a thing that I really want them to learn, and I need them to know that I need them to know this. And then I've been evaluating in myself, like, is it necessary? Like, do I really need to say this now? Particularly if I'm jeopardizing the kindness piece, because, it might be necessary, but like the way you heard it in my voice just now, it wasn't going to be kind. Right. Like, and so I've really found that using that little label, that little try label of, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Has helped me, both in my own life, but also think about with clients, like how to give them the thing. So to answer your specific question, let's say I've thrown you a ball in a passive aggressive way that isn't true, kind, and necessary. You manage to catch it, and now you have it in your hand and you have a choice.
Yeah.
You can go, I'm going to throw this back I'm going to throw it back in a passive aggressive way. I'm going to throw it back in a way that's true, that's not true, kind, or necessary.
Sure.
Or I'm going to take my ball and go home. You have all those choices, which you have. But if you want to keep the game going, you still get to throw it back in a way that's true, kind, and necessary and direct, which is to say, in this case, perhaps something like, hey, I feel like you're trying to say something to me. I'm not quite getting it. I really want to understand what you're saying. Could you try again? Here's the ball. You sort of toss it right back to their chest and say, here it is. It's in your, it's for you. Right.
Yeah.
Because your protective boundary isn't that's a healthy one, where you don't let it wound you and you don't just accept it as the norm. You evaluate it and you decide through the lens of your own containing boundary to send it back in a way that's going to actually prolong the relationship. And so, I'll do this all day long with clients where they're like, well, what if he says this? And I go, well, then why don't you try this? Or what if she doesn't, what if she takes her ball and goes home? I go, well, then you can appreciate that for you don't have to take the bait. You can let her go home. And then when, in that case, maybe she's flooded or something. And then when it's time, you restart the game of catch by saying, hey, seems like that didn't go really great. Maybe I missed something that was not going to be helpful. You know what I mean? Like, we have 100% of the time, we have an option to send back the ball with appropriate pace,
Okay. I have another argument. Are you ready? Okay. I have, like, as you're talking, I have all of these special people in my head popping up. And the argument is, but my partner doesn't listen to me, doesn't respond, doesn't play the game unless I throw the ball over their head. Have you ever heard that? Basically, like, I have asked you kindly, sweetly. I've said this is important to me. I've said it, like, gently, and they're not listening. I've thrown the ball to their chest, asking to play the game, and they don't respond unless I throw the ball at their feet, unless I throw it really hard, unless I throw it over their head. And interestingly, it's like, okay, where does that come from? Why is it that your partner is not responding to you unless the interaction between the two of you has become escalated? Now, are you with me? Like, the only way my partner pays attention to me or responds to me or plays the game is if I escalate the situation. And so my containment boundary, I've learned that I just can't be contained. I just let it loose. I unravel. And that's when my partner responds. So that's I don't even know if this is a question. It's just more of a reality that I see happening. They've just gotten in a vicious cycle where that's the only way that they communicate with each other is, I don't pay attention to you unless you escalate the situation. Yeah.
So if that couple's in my office, I would say a thing that I usually say, like in a workshop setting where people go, oh, this isn't where I'm not any good at this or something. I'll go, well, good news is you're in exactly the right place. You're in exactly the right place to address this pattern that you're describing. It sounds like the game that you guys have learned how to play is not very fun or edifying for either one of you. And so we need to agree that we're going to play a different game. And at that point, you can shift you can maybe shift the negotiation towards, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to learn how to do that? Are you willing to, try something new? Because we already know that if we do it the way that you've been doing it, or if we remain committed to the pattern that you have currently established, it's not going to go well.
Sure. Yeah.
So you can do that. You guys could do that. You could try to muscle your way out of that, and that'd be fine. but you already know it's not going to work. So why don't you try to trust me? Why don't you try and trust a little bit of the different process? And again, I think 100% of the time, it only takes one person to say, and this is when you were talking, I was like, maybe I'm a little bit naive about this, but I feel like the way I would address that specifically is to go, hey, babe, this sounds really intriguing and I'm actually really interested into it. Although I'm aware that I believe that the only way for me to get your attention is to escalate or is to play some other game. And is that true? Can you help me with that belief? Can you help me not do that? And again, I might be a little naive and because I have a lot of practice, I can rattle that stuff off real quick, but it really is about, think about, if you and I had a pattern of playing catch that was just really problematic and it wasn't fun for either one of us, and then one of us says,
playing the
hey,
game.
you want to play catch?
No.
Well, we would stop, or eventually one of us would go, okay, I'll play. But man, I really need us to figure out how to play better, or how to, like, we might need to stop trying to throw bowling balls and use like actual baseballs, because the bowling balls aren't working. They hurt. They're too hard. It's too, so I'll play, or maybe we need to get new gloves, or maybe, So I think this is why I love metaphor so much, is because when people start to go, well, what about if, and what about where, I go, okay, fine. Let's go to the metaphor.
Yeah.
And see where it plays. And if it's not a metaphor, how would you do it at your job?
Right.
That's just skills transfer.
I was just thinking about that it's hard for us as couples because we get so stuck in our pattern and either with our eyes too stuck on our partner and what they're doing rather than focused on ourselves. But I was literally just thinking, how do I respond with a child who comes to me? So we have kiddos that come and they hang out at our house, and when they whine and this is funny because it's like, they're 9 and 10 years old, but if they're whining, if they get upset, the way that I respond to them is, I'm having a really hard time hearing your need. And if you could maybe just take a breath and communicate your need calmly, I'll have a much easier way of hearing you. I can say that to a child. It's easy for me to say it to a kid. I can say it probably to you. We've had some interactions where I'm like, I don't love the way that this text string is going between the two of us. Harder to say it to my partner because, like you said, like we take our earrings off, our gloves off, and we're like, you want to battle? You want to do this? Let's do this. But I'm not going to do that with the neighbor kid. So I do think that metaphors are helpful for understanding, or even just taking this concept and applying it to a different type of relationship where boundaries are much more important. We become very boundaryless in our intimate relationships. And my interaction with the neighbor kid, it's going to be very boundaried, obviously. So it's interesting to apply it.
It's going to be more healthy boundaries.
Sure.
Because you're on your best behavior. And I think this is the part where like RLT is really powerful in the sense of like, when you're in a relationship with your intimate partner, part of what we all have to realize is that it's the safest place for us not to be on our best behavior, which means it's the place we go to our most base elementary coping skills and levels, which is where we're extremely walled off or extremely boundaryless.
Yeah.
And so the work is really getting back into a space of health. And that's in this, like, again, part of what I'm describing is part of a grid where there's two axes. You know how much I love quadrants, but it's the horizontal grid. And there are the extremes, but in the middle is a thing called appropriate boundaries.
Right.
And that is a baseball glove is an appropriate boundary. I'm going to catch it. I'm going to evaluate it. I'm going to take a second. I'm not just going to bat it back to you, or I'm not just going to, it's an actual thing designed to help me accept and receive the thing that you're tossing my way. Yeah. Protects my hand against the pain.
Right.
And it gives me a little bit of a moment to figure out how am I going to return this toss?
This was a game changer for me, just using the metaphor. And I don't love metaphors.
Well, that's exciting.
That's why you give metaphors and then I go, okay, how can that be applied to real life situations? Because my brain doesn't do metaphors super well. But hearing you say the glove is the boundary, I was just imagining like if every time your partner sends over, a crazy pitch or whatever, and you don't even put your glove up to be a boundary, it's going to hit you. It's going to sting. It's going to burn. It's going to you're going to get hurt and you're going to break bones and you're going to bruise. And that just made a lot of sense for me of being able to recognize that we all have a glove and you have the choice of how you want to use it.
Alternatively, if the boundary is a wall that you've put between you and your partner and you put them on the other side of the wall and they're trying to throw a ball to you, it's really hard to get it to you in a way that is going to be effective, right? They have to lob it over this wall, or, maybe they're just throwing it against the wall and they're hoping that it breaks through.
It's a one person game. It's wall ball at that point. You're just throwing it.
So again, I love metaphor. I love messing around with it. I like, I like figuring out how to take concepts and metabolize them in ways that are helpful for people on the ground, which goes back to the thing I was saying earlier about why I don't feel like I have two levers. I feel like I have a lot of context or content that I get to mess around with. And it's really quite fun. So,
I appreciate it.
I'm excited to be able to do that. Yeah.
Oh, well, this was fun. I'm glad that I did not roll my eyes.
I hope you're having a great time on your trip.
I am. I did that with a client yesterday, by the way. I said, tell me about your trip. They haven't gone on it. They're going in a month. And I said, tell me about it. And so they took turns kind of telling the story of their journey, their trip. And it was just really fun how creative they could get, where they were like, oh my gosh, we went to this most amazing cafe and we held hands the whole time. The sun set 100%. And then you noticed I was cold and you put the jacket on me. And I just love that type of intentionality of saying, what I really want from this is connection. And it's cool that they're talking about what they want to get from their trip before they ever went on it. So
yeah, I love that too.
I am having a great time on my trip, and I am wearing onesies, but I'm not having any sort of gastrointestinal issues. So it's fabulous. So that's all good. Glad we brought it back around.
I'm excited to not hear about your bathroom adventures. So,
well, you brought it up. I just told you I was wearing onesies and you were the one that brought it up. So
It's true.
Yeah.
But I brought it up strictly out of concern for you. So just know that I'm
thanks.
I've got my fingers crossed.
Because we know my stories. All right. Well, let's lay on this plane and we'll talk in a month.
Right on.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. Zach was talking a lot about some of the concepts that he is learning and integrating into his work. This is all coming out of Terry Real's work. We had Terry Real on our podcast. It's episode 219. If you're interested in learning more, he wrote a book called Us, Getting Past You and Me to Build a More Loving Relationship. You can also check out Relational Life Therapy by Googling it. Just want to give you more resources, more levers to pull. If Gottman Method is something that you have been into, awesome. We've talked a lot about it on the podcast, but we're also integrating other amazing methods in. So check out episode 219. Thanks for all of your time and attention, making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.